It is no secret to longtime fans of the channel that trading card games have been a big influence in my life, both on and off the channel. In this series, both DemonBattler and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of each core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set in chronological order. After each opening, we will build decks from all of the cards we have opened thus far, then duel each other in a best-of-3 match with 3 prizes up for grabs to improve our decks. The winner will receive 2 of those prizes, and the loser will get 1. The possibilities for prizes are almost limitless, including single cards, sealed product, structure decks, and much more. Every card in the entire game's history will be obtainable in some form. However, neither of us will be able to rest on past laurels easily. The ever-changing official Forbidden and Limited list, our own choices of cards to be banished to the Shadow Realm, and even changes to the very rules of the game will keep our decks and duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Ancient Sanctuary was released June 1st, 2004. This set introduced the Agent archetype, a series of fairy-type monsters that revolve around the field spell, the Sanctuary in the Sky. This set is a noticeable power dip from the last several sets such as Dark Crisis and Invasion of Chaos. However, it does still have a few impactful cards. It also features a lot of normal monster support, so that could be something to look out for going forward as well. Starting off in the common slot, we have a couple of normal monsters. We have Go Giga Gaga Giga, which is the second largest normal monster to date, having a 2950 attack, and if we were to run the water deck back, we may consider playing this as our deck master just to have a 3150 body. Mystical Shine Ball is a normal monster that can be special summoned off of the Agent of Creation Venus. It is not a once per turn, so once we get access to the Zexal era of cards, we will be able to use a Mystical Shine Ball as a rank 2 engine. Legendary Jujitsu Master is a very powerful defensive card. It is an 1800 defender at level 3 that will send any monster that battles with it while it's in defense position to the top of its owner's deck. Most of the control decks are going to want to play this somewhere. A Mermaid Knight is another powerful common for the Legendary Ocean deck. As long as Umi is on the field, it's a double attacker, and it will become 1700 under a Legendary Ocean. Solar Flare Dragon is probably the most important common that we're going to be looking for. It is an attack lock with itself if you have multiple copies, and it inflicts 500 points of damage to your opponent during each end phase. So we will be looking for 3 copies of this for our control deck. Monster Gate is a card that you can build entire decks around, and Reasoning Gate decks have been rogue pretty much up until we really get to extra deck mechanics. So what Monster Gate does is it lets you tribute a monster, and then you excavate cards until you hit a monster that can be normal summoned or set, and you get to special summon it. So you can use this to bring out huge haymakers, especially if you're playing monsters that can only be special summoned as well. Wall of Revealing Light is another attack floodgate that I'm looking forward to. It's a one-sided Swords of Revealing Light that requires a life point payment, and it sticks around forever. You activate it by paying any multiple of 1000 life points, and then none of your opponent's monsters can attack you if their attack value is less than or equal to the amount of life points that you paid. Beckoning Light will be a very important one of in Lightsworn later on, once we get to the end of GX era. Protector of the Sanctuary, noteworthy, gets limited for quite some time because of combos with Morphing Jar. Enchanting Fitting Room is an interesting one. This is a level 3 payoff. There are going to be a lot of very strong level 3 normal monsters that will come out after this. So we will be able to play a deck based around this. This lets you pay 800 life points, and then you excavate the top 4 cards of your deck, and you put all level 3 or lower normal monsters into your hand. And we do have some more commons up top. The Unhappy Girl will form a combo with a card from the next set called Spirit Barrier. Night Assailant is a very powerful common as well. This is a one-sided Man-Eater bug, so if you flip it while you're the only one that has monsters out, it won't destroy one of your monsters. And then when it's sent from your hand to the graveyard by a card effect, you get to return a flip effect monster from your graveyard to your hand, So if you have multiples of Knight Assailant, you can use them to hand loop. This is the precise reason why Knight Assailant gets limited. The last important common is one I'm going to be looking out for the control deck. It is Level Limit Area B. This is a spell card that is functionally Gravity Bind, but on a continuous spell instead. It forces all level 4 or higher monsters, all get forced to defense position. The presence of this causes both Level Limit Area B and Gravity Bind to eventually both get limited. Now at the rare slot, we do have a couple of noteworthy cards. The power level on the set is much lower than what you would expect from the more recent sets. Here's the Agent of Creation Venus. This is the monster that lets you pay 500 life points to special summon a Mystical Shine Ball, and that will be used in rank 2 engines once we get to Zexal. A Draining Shield is a 1 monster attack negate that gives you life points as well. Double Cost On is the first double tribute monster. So what makes this noteworthy is it is a zombie, so this would be an alternative way to also get out your Despair from the Dark in the zombie decks. Unfortunately, we still don't have Call of the Mummy, so we wouldn't be able to take advantage of that until we can get copies of the card. But if you tribute summon a dark monster, you can count Double Cost On as 2 tributes. King of the Swamp is something that's going to be very important once we get to GX era, because this is a fusion substitute that you can also tutor up polymerization with. We're going to want at least 1, if not multiple copies of this particular rare. The last really good rare in the set, and one we're going to be looking for, is Soul Resurrection. Soul Resurrection is Call of the Haunted for normal monsters, but it does special summon the monster in defense position. This will allow us to swarm the field with our water deck, and if we get a lot of copies of this card, we may well end up playing said water deck. Now, the holos in this set are mostly nothing to write home about. The Agent of Force Mars is the primary payoff for playing agents. If you have more life points than your opponent while you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the table, then it gains attack points equal to the difference in your opponent's life points. There are some cute things you can do with this, but because this archetype is mostly high rarity, we won't be seeing it. The big super rare that we're going to be looking for is Zeborg the Thunder Monarch. This is the first of 4 monarchs that you will see in the DM and GX eras. It is a 1 tribute, 2400 attacker. All the monarchs have 2400 attack and 1000 defense and require 1 tribute, and then if they're tribute summoned, you get a powerful effect. Zeborg will pop any monster, face up, face down, does not matter. His effect is mandatory, so you don't want to tribute summon him on an empty board. But Zeborg the Thunder Monarch is very powerful and will see play if we get him. Emissary of the Afterlife is another normal monster payoff. This lets both players search for a level 3 or lower normal monster. This was notably played in Exodia decks. And the only other noteworthy super rare in this set is Stone Statue of the Aztecs. So this is a 2k defender that deals double battle damage when it gets attacked. And now for the ultra rares, a lot of these are pretty hot trash. The Agent of Judgment Saturn is the boss monster for the Agent archetype. It's a 2400 body that if you have a Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, you can tribute it to deal damage equal to the differential between your life points and your opponent's as long as your life points are higher. Gear Golem the Moving Fortress is the most interesting direct attacker that we have access to. First of all, it is our first 4-star monster with 2200 defense and no drawback. So this can be a monster to get over, and then during your main phase you can pay 800 life points to be able to attack directly with Gear Golem the Moving Fortress. Blowback Dragon is one of the generically best ultra rares in the set. It is a barrel dragon that is 1 tribute and has a few less attack points. This card is pretty strong and will see play if we get it. Then we have Enemy Controller. So Enemy Controller is one of those super useful cards. This card was really expensive when the set came out. This was a $40 card when the set came out and was incredibly difficult to get a hold of. And even after it was reprinted for the first time, it was still a pain in the butt to get a hold of. So it's a quick play that you can stop an attack with by changing one of your opponent's monsters to defense position, mid-attack, which would cancel the attack, or you could tribute one of your monsters to gain control of one of their face-up monsters for a turn. So if you had a tribute summon in your hand, you could use this as removal. It was very powerful, very flexible. And then the 2 secret rares are not great. The End of Anubis is okay. It's a 1 tribute 2500 that stops effects from activating in the graveyard, and Mazera Deville is completely unplayable. And with the release of Ancient Sanctuary comes a very small update to the Forbidden and Limited list. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End, get limited to 1 copy, but they will not be staying there for long. And then Manticore of Darkness gets semi-limited to 2 copies. Okay, 24 packs of Ancient Sanctuary. This set is quite low power compared to some of the other sets we've had. There are definitely a few cards that I'm going to be looking for, but nothing super important at high rarity, thankfully. Most of what we're looking for is at low rarity. Without further ado, 24 packs of Ancient Sanctuary. Let's go. And nothing much really in this first pack, but what can I really expect as Ancient Sanctuary? There's our first copy of Legendary Jujitsu Master. This is a card that we're going to want for the control deck because it allows us to take a lot of pressure off of the aggro deck by setting them back not only a normal summon, but a draw phase as well. None of the other cards in the set are terribly noteworthy. There's a Draining Shield. That is a pretty good card. It negates 1 attack and then gains you life points equal to the attacking monster's attack. It effectively obsoletes Enchanted Javelin. And there's our first super rare, and that is the best super rare in the set. That is Zeborg the Thunder Monarch. Well then, that's about the best. That might just be the best card in the set, period, not just the best super rare. And this pack has a ton of other bangers in it as well. We got Solar Resurrection for the water deck. We have Solar Flare Dragon. If this is the best pack that I get out of Ancient Sanctuary, I wouldn't be surprised. Zeborg the Thunder Monarch is so powerful. If we can pick up some of the Monarchs in the next few sets, we are going to be in fantastic shape. And there's our first copy of Enchanting Fitting Room. There is a deck that we can build around this, so it is noteworthy. I don't think we're going to have the resources to do this now, but once we get some of the 1700 3-star normal monsters, that is something to consider for the future. There's another Legendary Jujitsu Master, as well as our copy of Night Assailant. Now, Night Assailant will get very quickly limited, but it is another option for monster destruction and may end up replacing Maneater Bug in flip effect heavy decks. And there's a Soul Resurrection. That is really nice. That's our second Soul Resurrection for the water deck. Got our first Mermaid Knight, second Solar Flare Dragon. We're picking up these commons early, and that's what we want to see. Take a lot of the nerves out of opening these packs. Ultimately, it is random what we end up getting, but one can hope for the cards that they are looking for. And there's a copy of King of the Swamp. That's another rare that we're looking for. That card is going to be incredibly valuable come GX, especially if we can get those polymerizations so that we will be able to play our elemental heroes. There's our first copy of Monster Gate, as well as a card I didn't go over in the set introduction. That is Special Hurricane. This can actually be side decked against very special summon heavy decks. You do have to discard a card for cost, but it will destroy all special summon monsters on the field. The only way we had to do this previously was with Jowgen the Spiritualist, which was on a monster, so it took up your normal summon. This does not take up your normal summon. We did also pick up another copy of Mermaid Knight, which is very nice. I also didn't mention Soul Reversal. A Soul Reversal is unfortunately a 2-for-1 because it does take up your draw phase, but it is a way to buy back flip effect monsters. It is a quick play spell that puts a flip effect monster from your graveyard on top of your deck. And there is our first copy of Go Giga Gaga Gigo. That is a card we will only want 1 copy of because it is a 2 tribute even under a Legendary Ocean, but that is going to be our deck master if we do decide to go the Legendary Ocean route for this duel. We've already used our Legendary Fisherman, so we won't be able to use that as a deck master, but it's an absolutely massive body at 3150. And there is a super rare. Unfortunately, it is not a very good super rare. It is Needle Burrower, which is a card that I don't think is playable in any capacity. We did get our first set of attack floodgates, though. We got a Wall of Revealing Light, and we got our first copy of Level Limit Area B. Now, Level Limit Area B will get limited pretty quickly, but now we can really have the attack floodgates to make some kind of control deck work. And I'm certain that after this set, Raigeki Break may end up having to go in our main decks just because of how difficult it is to remove back row right now. And there is another super rare that is Des Counterblow. So this card destroys any monster that deals battle damage by attacking directly. It is a continuous trap, so it must be activated prior to the damage step. However, this can be a deterrent to attacking directly. However, the downside to it is that the monster does actually have to hit you first for it to be destroyed, so you're going to wind up taking a lot of damage. I don't think it's worth playing this over something such as Sakuretsu Armor. I also failed to notice that makes our playset of Mermaid Knight, so this Legendary Ocean deck is looking pretty solid. And there's another level limit, another double cost on too. If we can pick up Call of the Mummy from a reprint set, Zombie is a real option. And there's our Agent of Creation Venus. That will be important if we do want to go with a rank 2 engine, but that's not going to help us a lot quite yet because we have not pulled a single Mystical Shine Ball, and we are 16 packs in. So they're going to need to come in soon for us to take advantage of them. And a second Zeborg, the Thunder Monarch. That's the most difficult Monarch to get because this is the largest set that contains a Monarch. Starting with Soul of the Duelist, the sets get very small, being only 60 cards, and they will only have 7 super rares apiece instead of 10, so getting double Zeborg is a sign that we may end up shifting focus over to some kind of Chaos Monarch strategy. That's also possible, but getting double Zeborg is something that Demon is not going to like too much, and he may end up taking a swipe at some Monarchs at the end of the season. But, wow, double Zeborg, that's pretty nutty. We also did get another Night Assailant, that makes our second one. However, we are still missing a lot of key commons. We need one more copy of Solar Flare Dragon to finish out that playset, and there are a couple other commons that I would like to see more copies of as well. But I got double Zeborg the Thunder Monarch, I cannot complain. And we did get another super rare that is the Sanctuary in the Sky. This is kind of a wasted super rare slot because we don't have the fairy support for this card. And it does get reprinted at common in Dark Revelation 2, although I don't know how many packs of Dark Revelation 2 we're going to want to take, because a lot of the important cards in this set are high rarity. We did get our first Mystical Shine Ball, and we only have 3 packs left after this, which is a little bit depressing, because you really want to get at least 2 of those to make the engine work. We did fill out our playset of Level Limit Area B, and we did get a rare in this set that I had to discuss. It is Spell Economics. This prevents you from having to pay life points as a cost to activate spell cards. I don't think it's particularly good now, but there could potentially be some combos with it for any spell card that costs a very high life point amount to activate. Alright, so only 3 packs left to go. I can't complain. We've got 2 Monarchs, we've got a lot of the commons that we're looking for. There is one more Solar Flare Dragon I'd like to pick up in these last 3 packs, see if we get anything else good. Level Limit Area B, we already have our playset of. That actually makes a playset of Spell Economics, so that may be something to consider down the line. I don't know how good the combo decks are with it, but there is definitely potential for some combo decks later on. Go to our second to last pack. We did get another Agent of Creation Venus, but with only 1 Mystical Shine Ball, it's not going to be terribly useful. And now for our very last pack, can we get that 3rd Solar Flare Dragon, please? Thank you! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! We got the Solar Flare Dragon. We also got an Ultra Rare in the close. We got the Agent of Judgment Saturn, and we have the Sanctuary in the Sky to go with it, too. And Agent of Force Mars gets printed at common in a reprint set. So depending on what we get, we may be able to put some sort of fairy support together, especially once we get some of the later fairy support cards. But that is a pretty nice pickup, and I'm just super relieved to get the 3rd Solar Flare Dragon. I got everything I could possibly want out of this set. The double Zeborg, we got all the commons that we could ever want out of the set, just everything. I'm going to have a lot of consideration to make on exactly what deck I want to play, because I have a lot of options. So I will be spending quite a bit of time in Dueling Book deciding what I want to play. It will take a long time for me, but it won't take very long for you. Now I know what you're gonna think. Rai, what is this abomination that you are bringing to today's duel? This is gonna be either spectacular or awful, and I need something to snap this losing streak. So here's the premise behind what we're doing. Our initial deck is a spin on the stall deck without going in so hard on some of its components. I'll take you down the card by card. I have 1 Cyberjar, 2 Dust Koala. The Koalas are coming back for a reason that you will see once we get to the side deck. 3 Magical Merchant to try to keep up on cards, 2 Old Vindictive Magician, 1 Sandgen, 3 Solar Flare Dragon, new from Ancient Sanctuary. We're not playing any other Pyros, but given the searchability of this card, it shouldn't be as difficult as you would think to get 2 copies of this on the table. And then 3 copies of Stealth Bird. This was for Invasion of Chaos. This is a Pac-Man piece that does 1000 damage to your opponent whenever you flip summon it. This is actually a pretty nice claw. And then 1 copy of Tsukiyomi, our former deck master, to be able to abuse the Koala, the Magical Merchant, and the Old Vindictive Magicians, which I feel is enough to include this. And then 1 copy of Witch of the Black Forest, rounding out the monsters. For the spells, we have just 5 spells: Confiscation, Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Level Limit Area B, and Pot of Greed. And then we come to our 18 traps. This is a back row deck through and through. 2 copies of Gravity Bind, 2 Just Desserts, 1 Mirror Force, a 3 Geometrio, 2 Raigeki Break, a 1 Ring of Destruction, 3 Sakuretsu Armor, 3 Secret Barrel, and 1 Solemn Judgment. I've chosen to go with Dark Dust Spirit for my deck master. Now, this'll be a little bit cheesy because this is yet another spirit monster. This is a spirit monster that sets up a board wipe when you normal summon it, and then when it goes back to the hand, you can still tribute summon it to be able to board wipe, but wow. So what this does, you might notice a pretty drastic change with the sideboard, where my sideboard is final attack orders and 13 guys. This has a transformational sideboard package that is going to completely upend the deck. We're going to be taking out most of the defensive monsters and all of our attack floodgates to bring in 13 beaters and 2 copies of final attack orders. So we have 2 Berserk Gorilla, 2 Giant Orc, 3 Gyaku Gire Panda, 2 Zeborg the Thunder Monarch, 2 Archfiend Soldier, 1 Mad Dog of Darkness, 1 Gemini Elf, and then the plan that makes the sideboard plan tick, which is final attack orders. This card forces all face-up monsters to attack position, and their battle positions cannot be changed. This has incredible synergy with Ojama Trio, because it gives them 3 0-attack monsters that they cannot put into defense position, and they take 300 extra damage when they're destroyed. So this is going to allow us to push for massive amounts of damage, and this change should hopefully catch DemonBattler off guard when he takes out his removal package for anti-control cards. I'm looking forward to this one. This is gonna have some fireworks involved. It is time to duel. Not gonna lie, Demon, I'm not super impressed with this set.
Yeah, there's honestly a lot to be desired here. There's some neat cards for like future purposes, but for right now, it's not really a whole lot different.
Well, definitely be cards that'll come up in the future. But I would really like to use this opportunity to snap this losing streak, and of course.
Alright, well, let's see how that goes.
Alright, good luck,
I'm gonna take
Duelist.
the first play.
And I'll get to show you my deck master. You're probably not going to be too happy to see it.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and set mine out. Where are you?
Well, it's another spirit monster. Ah, so it's your turn. Oh boy, this should be entertaining.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's not a good start then.
Lovely.
Stand by main.
Who's ready for Control Mirror?
I think I'm going to just set a card. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do a T-set and pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I'd like to see what you're up to, please. If you're playing Tsukiyomi as your deck master, that probably means we're playing a Control Mirror of some kind. The Raigeki, obviously.
Okay.
So then I will proceed to set a monster set a pair of back row, and ship it over.
Right. Draw. Standby main. Good grief. Okay. I guess I'm going to just flip summon my Stealth Bird.
Yup.
And then I'm going to use his effect to set himself.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty good.
Well, I guess since you know about it, I'll activate Chorus of Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's a 2200 butt. Draw for turn, stand by main. I am going to flip up my koala, take 12. Set one. Go.
Alright. Standby main. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and flip my Stealth Bird.
I know how this song and dance works.
Set that down. I will set a monster. And I will pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I am going to go ahead and flip up this old Vindictive Magician and shoot your bird.
Okay, fine. At least I got 2k off of you, so... Well, 3k, actually.
Then I'm going to set a back row and ship it over.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Alright. Munch all noobs.
Any
response?
I'm going to chain Ring of Destruction.
Targeting. Okay.
The camel. Get that off the table. Gee, what an exciting game this is going to be.
I'm going to set a card, and I will set a card.
Alright, I will draw for my turn, stand by main. I'm going to put both my monsters in defense positions, set a back row, and pass.
Alright, I draw, standby, main. Well,
another bird.
Caw-caw.
Another bird, huh? Good thing I didn't attack that.
I will set him, and I'm going to set a card and pass.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I'm at 3,500? I'm going to just set a back row, and I will pass.
Alright, I'll draw. Stand by.
Well, there's the bird, sure.
Flip again?
Sure. Not like I can do anything about that bird, it's got a 2,200 ass.
Yeah. Alright, I will set another monster, and I will pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to run out of solar.
Okay.
Then I am going to proceed to my end phase, and you will take 500 points of damage.
Alright.
Go.
Alright, I draw. Stand by main.
I know the bird is there.
First, I'm going to flip.
Sure. 1,000 in.
Alright. I will flip my Swarm of Scarabs, targeting your Solar Flare.
You got it.
Set. I will set a monster, and I will add a new card, Level Limit Area B.
Not surprising. At your end phase, I'm going to Secret Barrel you for 1,800.
Okay.
Draw for turn. Stand by main. I am going to activate Just Desserts. That's not Just Desserts.
Alright.
I'm going to activate my other Just Desserts.
Oh.
Just Desserts pretty good against Pac-Man. I was wondering when we were going to play the Control Mirror. Alright, game 2.
Alright.
Game two of the Snooze Fest shall continue.
Okay,
Yep.
so we'll banish that to start.
Yep. Where is my Dark Dust Spirit? Here it is.
Okay, so draw for turn. Well, once Dueling Book actually cooperates.
Yep.
Stand by main. Let's keep on drawing.
Yep.
Don't have to worry about Droll and Lockbird for a little while as it is, so...
Well, Droll wouldn't stop Pot of Greed anyway.
True. Oh, true. That's searching. Never mind.
The card you're thinking of is
There we
Ash
go.
Blossom.
All right.
But no, Droll does stop. Droll does stop Pot of Greed. But the thing with Droll is they have to use you have to activate Droll on resolution of an effect that moves cards from deck to hand.
All right. Let's start things off with a simple wave motion cannon.
You got it. That is a cannon.
There we go. All right. And then I'm going to set a monster, set a back, and pass.
Draw for turn, standby, main. I'm going to run out of Berserk Gorilla.
Ooh, okay.
Proceed to the battle phase. I will attack into your set, because I have to. Well, you have a Stangan.
You will take out my... Let's see what I can get out of that. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up...
Yep, you got it.
Up a Stealth Bird.
Cool. After combat, I'm going to set 1, 2, 3 back row.
Alright. I draw. Any responses?
Nothing in draw.
Alright, standby.
Nothing in standby. Go ahead.
Main one. I'm going to put a little bit of insurance. I'm going to activate Magic Reflector and target my wave motion cannon.
That's pretty good.
Because of that, I'm going to just put turn 1 in the chat to keep track right now.
I know that it can't be destroyed.
And I'm going to set a monster, and I will pass.
Alright, draw for turn, standby, main. I am going to... You're not going to like this too much either. I'm going to activate Final Attack Orders.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to normal summon Solar Flare Dragon.
Okay.
I'm going to proceed to the battle phase. I will attack with Berserk Gorilla into your set.
I am going to book your gorilla.
Yup. I'll attack with Solar.
Right. Well, that's going to put my Magician of Faith into attack mode.
Yes, it will. You will take 1200.
So, unfortunately... But I will also get my Pot of Greed back.
Yes, that will. I will proceed to the end step, and Oh, I'm sorry. You have an effect on res?
I was going to say... Well, no, I was going to say, if there was a way to stop, like, to keep your attack from happening at all, I would have flipped Magician and then instantly booked it back down.
Oh yeah, that would.
Unfortunately, there's no time between the attack, like flipping the monster, and getting the there's no in between from flipping it to damage step.
That's correct because flipping the monster occurs at the start of the damage step, I believe. But in any case, speaking of damage, you will take 500 points of damage from Solar Flare Dragon.
All right.
I will pass the turn.
All right. Draw. Standby. Turn 2. Let's fire it off again. Any response?
No, you're fine. Draw your 2.
I'm going to set a card. Set a couple.
Draw for turn. Standby. Main. I'll go ahead and flip up the Berserk Gorilla.
Okay.
Then I'm going to run out another Berserk Gorilla.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I will proceed to the battle phase. I will attack into your set.
Right. You will hit my Stealth Bird.
You'll take 13.
Oh, right.
Final Attack Orders puts it in attack position when it gets flipped up. And then 2k.
Well, I will take 2k, but I'm also booking your gorilla. So I'll take 15 from the Solar Flare.
Booking this. Okay. This will be set.
So I'll take the 15 from that, and then the 500 at the end. But
correct.
So I'll take 2k, but that gorilla's not getting me.
All right. So you'll take the 5 from Solar Flare Dragon, and then I will ship the turn.
All right. Standby main. Let's see. You know, as crazy as it is, I think you've got it. Yeah, you got it.
Good, I am finally back in the winner's circle. Oh my god, that took way too long.
My other card was my third Book of Moon.
But that isn't going to save you.
And basically, Here, I'll show my hand to make it easier.
Oh.
All of my monsters have good effects. The problem is, final attack orders just means that I get hit. Like, even if I set Night Assailant's effect would proc after getting attacked, like after the damage step anyway, because of the fact that it's the start of damage step. So, unfortunately, I would be taking lethal regardless of what happens here. Especially if you summoned another monster.
Yeah, I had the perfect sideboard plan for you.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's,
So I wasn't too terribly impressed.
I'll say this much, I sure as hell wasn't... Yeah, this set honestly was kind of meh.
So I got most of the comments I wanted.
There's a couple cards that I want to... Yeah, same here. There's a couple of cards I have a couple fun ideas for later, but nothing too spectacular.
So here's the really cool synergy that you didn't get to see in either game.
Oh goodness, yeah, that's that's a bit of a problem.
The synergy between Ojama Trio and Final Attack Orders is just nuts.
Oh yeah,
because you can't tribute over them. Okay, so did you figure out what happened between Game 1 and Game 2?
I see you went a little more aggro as opposed to fully defensive. Unfortunately, I didn't really have a whole lot to do for that change.
So Game 1, Game 1, I actually had all of the stealth birds and the cyber jar and whatnot. And then after Game 1, if the matchup was right, like say if you were playing control, because as a control deck, after seeing this, you would take out your gravity binds and your level limits and your sacks, and I would just bring in all of these monsters. My side deck for this match was Final Attack Orders and 13 monsters.
Well, the funny thing is, I had a feeling that you would change into a little more offensive anyway. Like, I didn't know to what extent, but I didn't actually take out my gravity binds or my L-labs.
Oh, geez.
Because I figured if it came to it and it was like, oh, yeah, I just didn't see him. And honestly, I figured if it turned out, yeah, you kept it fully defensive, okay, then fine. Game 3, I could turn around and do that. Because, like, I had no reason to be like, oh, yeah, he's going to play fully defensive. There's no point. Because let's be honest, if it's control versus control, someone is going to have to try to play the aggressor. And honestly, my deck doesn't really play the aggressor that well, even inside.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Like, of course, I'm sure you expect I had this here.
Yeah.
I'm sure you knew I had that.
Yeah.
In the wings. I actually had this in my main, too, which was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, that card is actually really good.
It's there specifically to A, get under level limit and gravity bind, and B, help facilitate getting you out a little faster. Because if I have, say, a stealth bird and this out, and I can control the field, then that's 1,500 per turn as opposed to 1,000. And if I have waste motion cannon on the field, then that turns it from a 4-turn clock down into a 3-turn clock pretty much right away. Just because Nightmare Horse can get that extra 1,000 in over the course of those 2 turns.
So for the exact same reason as your Logic playing Nightmare Horse, I was debating making Inaba White Rabbit my deck master.
See, that I thought about Inaba White Rabbit, but I had figured that honestly, as much as it was a good idea, I needed to have some way to control the field better, and that's where Tsukiyomi came in. I figured with Tsuk, if worst came to worst, if I had better control over the field, I could have something like, say, Night Assailant on the field, and then just keep using Tsuk bounce it back. Because I only have 1 Swarm of Scarabs. So if I had this for monster control, then I'm good to go.
Yeah,
and then I actually had a second Night Assailant in here as well. So if I needed to do the hand loop in some way, like whether by hand size or through Graceful Charity, I could at least do that.
Yeah, that's disgusting. So my whole side deck was Final Attack Orders, 3 pandas, and all monsters with at least 1,900 attack. It's so gimmicky, but when it works, it's glorious. It almost
Now the funny thing is
with the Just Desserts and Secret Barrel, it almost turns into like a red deck
reason why I actually had Ariocean. But the issue is, well, that's the thing. If you have ALO, I had 3 chorus and a terraforming. I can stop your monsters from being able to get under gravity bind or getting through level limit because AOL would drop the level, but chorus would get them back to their normal level and boost my defense.
It does, and it makes the 5-star waters, even after you bring them out, not able to get over 2k defenders, and that deck has a pretty hard time getting over any monster with 2,500 or more defense. But
and on top of that, it also helps keep that amphibious Bugroth from coming in and hitting me directly.
It does, yeah. All right,
well,
I'm just.
I'll say this much. I definitely wasn't throwing for content, but I honestly was expecting this deck to at least work a little better than it did.
All right, well, I will go ahead and take my rightful place back in the winner's circle. Thank you very much. So in addition to turning things around for this duel, it was also important because the 2004 Collector's Tins came out during this time as well, and there's some pretty playable cards in this set of 6, and because of that, I get the first pick.
Yep, and honestly, all 6 of these are actually pretty good, too.
I wouldn't say Insect Queen is, but the rest of them are at least playable. I am going to, with my pick 1, take a copy of Blade Knight.
Yeah, I am not surprised in the least. Blade Knight is probably the best of the set. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a bummer, but that's fine.
Okay, what do you want?
I think I'm going to go ahead and pick the Command Knight for my first pick.
Yes, that's the next obvious pick. My next one is going to be Obnoxious Celtic Guard.
Okay, let's see. So that leaves me with Total Defense Shogun, Swift Guy of the Fierce Knight, and Insect Queen. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Total Defense Shogun as my second pick.
I'm going to take Swift Guy of the Fierce Knight because it's part of my spirit monster in this game.
Fair enough. And that leaves with the Insect Queen for me for the final one, which I'll probably never touch, but hey, at least it's a card.
It is. Alright, it took long enough, but we are finally back in the winner's circle. After 4 losses in a row, finally turned things around. I'm amazed that transformational sideboard actually worked, but he just must have gotten unlucky with the cards that he saw. But that's Yu-Gi-Oh! But in any case, we are going to take our first spin on the wildcard wheel because there are some really important cards at all rarities that I need to pick up. As of this set, we are able to go back to Pharaoh's Servant for wildcards. So I'll take a wildcard of just about any rarity. I don't mind seeing some of the lower end stuff. And it looks like we are going to get a common wildcard. So I will decide what I'm taking with that common wildcard, and I will see you shortly. So the water aggro deck is one of my mainstays in my arsenal right now, and even though he's playing Chorus of Sanctuary with defensive cards to be able to get this off the field and fight a field war with me, I still think the third copy of a Legendary Ocean is necessary for the consistency of that deck, so we will add that to the collection. And then for our second one, I'm going to opt to take another wild card here, because I'm still interested in a lot of cards across the rarity spectrum. Doesn't look like we're going to get another common. Looks like we're going to get a holo of some kind. We're going to get a super rare wild card. And I know exactly what I'm taking. This is my last chance to get this card. There's only one real choice for this. And the card I'm choosing to take as a super rare wild card is Dust Tornado. Pharaoh's Servant rotates out with this set, and this is the only real chance that I have to get more back row removal. Probably won't play this in the main deck of the control deck, but in all the aggro decks we will be playing this in the main just to have options to eliminate back row. And that'll be a wrap for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Join us next time for our last Deckmaster episode with Soul of the Duelist. Until then, see you around.